Look, this is what Reef Beef is. Reef Beef is the way that we all talk to each other at trade shows. You know, when the show is over and we're all chilling and talking, and we speak very frankly, and sometimes there's cuss words involved. So you know what? Be a mature adult and get over it. We cuss a little bit, and that is the power of Reef Beef. My name is Ben.
My name is Richard.
And on today's show, Richard, what are we going to be talking about?
We are going to be catching up with Ben and your travels. We're going to be catching up with Rich and his decision makings. And we're going to be catching up with a weird thing with clownfish and anemones. And a bunch of general talk. We got some Ask Reef Beef, and we'll see where the conversation goes. This episode is brought to you by
SaltwaterAquarium.com
Champion Light Against Supply,
and powered by PolypLab.
and of course brought to you by you, the reef beefing community, without which we'd just be two guys talking to each other. How's it going, Benjamin?
I'm quite fine. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good.
What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, brain stuff has been happening. Something's changed in the last couple of weeks in a good way.
Oh, good.
Which means I've kind of dropped out of most of the world because I'm going, what is going on with this? And what does this mean? And how does this work? So that's pretty great. I'm pretty happy with all that. But that's probably not the thrust of your because this is not a How is Rich's Brain podcast.
Today on Reef Beef, how are you doing, Richard, outside of the reefing world?
Well, my wife was mean to me. My wife was not mean to me. Things are pretty great. Things are going okay. We're in between spawns. So we had two spawns last month. The hyacinthus went off twice. It looks like the two colonies that went off are either the same genotype or too closely related because there was no fertilization. Same thing happened with these two colonies last year. So that's pretty definitive that they're not fertilizing each other.
Then what does it mean you need to bring in a different hyacinthus?
Yeah, but there's three other colonies there that did not spawn this year or last year. They're not growing or whatever. I haven't been paying much attention. I've been letting them work themselves out. But it looks like I need to put some more effort into those two or three and get them going properly, get them growing this year.
Wait, quick question. This is just a dumb question from a dumb guy.
But that's us. That was almost the name of the podcast.
Yeah, dumb questions from dumb guys. But it wouldn't seem like genetically that like corals spawning in the ocean are anything like humans. Like there, even though we joked about it last episode, there's not really like uncle cousins, right? They just all go and like there's not two hyacinthus that are somehow closely related and their spawn doesn't take.
Yeah, there is.
It's like that?
Absolutely.
Huh.
Yeah, they won't self-fertilize.
Well, not self-fertilize, but two separate colonies side by side.
So if you have two colonies of the same genotype side by side, it's the same thing.
Okay.
Right? So even if they're not clones of each other, even if they were spawned and you've got two colonies of the same genotype, they won't cross-fertilize because they're the same.
It just seems like reefs, without having actually been on too many of them, but
yeah,
reefs are like pretty isolated populations that would have like humans in the Appalachians. There's just not a lot, you go out to the bar and you see the same person over and over again.
That's a real problem. That's what's been going on in the Caribbean as we've been losing more and more coral in the Caribbean, and our pool of animals and parents gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And there was a big problem is either they're too close. The colonies that are close enough to fertilize each other are all of the same genotype, so they're not fertilizing each other. Or the ones that are of a different genotype are just too far away and the sperm and egg are not getting there to mix each other. There's a place called Buck Island in St. Croix where I did some work, and the prevailing current is from the ocean where there's nothing blowing towards Buck Island to St. Croix, right?
Oh,
So we had different genotypes at St. Croix, but those larvae, not even just the sperm and egg, but the larva itself actually can't make it to Buck Island because of the way the wind and currents are. So Buck Island was just croaking out. And they were I mean the corals were just disappearing because there was no new recruitment.
my brain is weird, and I always have to, I always have to liken things to fully understand them.
Sure, sure.
So that's so weird because, then the winds, I'm thinking of billowing smoke from a smoldering campfire,
Yeah.
and the smoke being the gametes and sperm, and the wind being the ocean currents. And it's the wind shifts, and man, and that seems like, we think of like, oh no, reef shrinking and shrinking. Well, then that just made me realize there's a point in it shrinking that it's almost like a determined, it's just there's no coming back because it's already shrunk so much. There's no bringing that back. It's just going to shrink because the winds have shifted and the natural
And
environment's not doing its thing.
yeah, and the currents have shifted, or the currents have never been coming. We're at the edge of the range,
Mm-hmm.
which is where Buck Island kind of, not the edge of the range, but locally at least, which is where Buck Island is, and so it doesn't get new coral landing there to keep that population up. And so once the local population is down, it can't come back. They're
Yeah.
now they and Buck the people who ran Buck Island were very adamant about not doing any restoration there, but that's changed now in the last 10
Oh,
years.
weird. Like they didn't want to, they were like, well, this is sort of nature. We don't really want
Yeah,
to fool with it.
yeah, they got to catch up, and for 30 years the whole thing has been don't touch anything, don't leave it alone, don't touch it, don't mess with it. And now all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're gonna mess with it a lot.
But,
Um,
and it's tricky in that because I appreciate that and respect that, like from a marine biology or however, standpoint you want to take. But we are messing with it and touching it inadvertently as a population of mammals on the planet. Like, so we are jacking with it just by runoff and pollution and this. And I get the
yeah.
scientists like, hold, stand back, don't mess with it. And it's like, but the human population is enacting on it. So it might be interesting to see if you
That
can.
that's one of the real problems with reefs is that it's hard to, like, you could say, look, this area burned down and that's why these animals are having a bad time. Or, you dug a pit and you put all the dirt you dug up onto the burrows of these animals and you've killed them. That's much harder to show in the ocean, but it's definitely happening. So how do
All
we
right, I'll
get on
try.
a Buck Island? Oh, the spawn.
Yeah, sorry.
Right. So yeah. So we had so hopefully next month we'll have some more spawning to go. We'll see. Um and if we don't, I just get a relaxing January, which is not the worst thing in the world for me.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, that's what's going on in Spawnville. Uh these the display tank's doing great. I did a bunch more work in the display tank again. Um, I'm gonna save that. We'll talk about that later. It's just, as it turns out, in a mature reef tank, you gotta garden.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
you gotta garden.
But it's just like a fancy English garden. Like you
Yeah,
don't, it's like the dishes are never done. Oh, cool, I got it where I want, but it's daily input.
yeah, and it's just a change of attitude, right? It's we've worked so long and been and doing the same thing. Keep your hands off, leave it alone, let it grow, let it grow, let it grow. Then when it gets to the right point, it's
Okay, now
like
put your hands on it.
put your hands in it because oh my god, you've got to do major. There's places where the uplift in my tank is 4 or 5 inches,
Yeah.
from the corals growing up, and I've made like a like a sky bridge of coral now on the
Ah,
top, and then there's another. So that's what I've had to mess with the last few
that's one
days.
of the things I'm sort of stoked about when you get a bigger tank because I have several clients that are like this too, where I have a lot of SPS in there. And it's funny, I think back and it's like, man, I should have had more forethought to put these guys lower because now it's just nonstop things trying to breach the water and it makes a mess.
Yeah, well, it's got to be done.
Yeah.
Either rescape the whole thing or you got to be clipping.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel very excited. Although I was like about a new tank, a bigger tank, but I was also like, oh, this one's nice. I've been babbling. It's your turn, and then I've got something to share. What's going
Okay,
on with
so
you?
I take over tanks all the time and revamp them and stuff. So I took over this tank a while back ago, and the client has been so, I can't think of the word, just so gracious in letting me sort of line out how the tank needs to be improved. And at this moment right now, we are on, I chopped it up into five different estimates for, filtration, lighting, this, that, this. And we did the lighting not too long ago. And so we're more or less finished with all that now. And now we're putting corals in. But there was a touchy thing, and this is about a 300-gallon
Say it,
peninsula pen,
Peninsula.
peninsula tank.
That's yeah, Peninsula. You've never
I,
pronounced it that way before. It's
I have a
Peninsula.
problem with that word. Um,
What
and
word?
the peninsula,
Peninsula.
peninsula. I don't. There's no H in there. It's but Peninsula is Don Shula's little brother.
Okay.
You wouldn't know that. That's a sports ball uh coach.
I
So
just changed it to Don Cheadle
yeah.
Cheadle, and now I know who it is.
But so there was a sticking issue when I took it over. I was like, there's no skimmer on this tank. And
Ah,
my
interesting.
client was like, "Oh, well, the company before you had a big skimmer on here and it made a lot of stench and my husband was not down for it." In this situation, I think it's very interesting because it is the wife who is running the show with this whole aquarium thing. It's her deal. And it's the husband who's the passing fancier of
Interesting.
of
That's
what we're
great.
doing. So it's cool. Um but and I was but I was like, there's different ways to skin a cat, but I was like, this is not gonna go anywhere if we don't have a skimmer. And she goes, well, I don't know how you can make it not stink like that. And me being the consummate professional, it's like, well, yeah, I know how to do that. So, there's and I use these a lot because in the maintenance scenario where I'm the one doing all the stuff and I'm there either once a week or every other week, there's certain functions of running a tank that like it has to be different than if you're a hobbyist. So I'm real big on these skimmate collectors. Like a
Right.
Vast Marine makes one, Ice Cap makes one, a bunch of people make one where it can take the skimmate from the skimmer and you can draw it off in another place and hold it there. And they always have some sort of switch or whatnot on it that if it gets filled, it shuts the skimmer off.
So the point of those lockers is twofold. One is you can go longer without having to do maintenance on your
Mhm.
skimmer because it's a big reservoir that your skimmate goes into. And the other thing it does is it also helps to trap the smell. And it
Hmm.
also, once it's full, will turn off your skimmer for you so it won't overfull. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of good things to a skimmer management device.
So I was super stoked because I recommended she wants to put a lot of fish into it. So I went with a what, for the system, what it would be considered a pretty large skimmer. I used wasn't a Regal, but it was a Reef Octopus. What is it? RO 5000 internal. So it just barely fit into the sump. But then I led that off. I had to go down a little bit and into a different compartment. Her stand for this tank is like compartmentalized a little bit. It's a Cade tank, and they sort of make their stands compartmentalized. But I went through the wall of it and into the other section, and it's funny. I've always used Avast, but I think Avast is making a bunch of change ups, and I couldn't. They weren't having their skimmate locker, and so
Huh.
which is fun for me because then I'm like, okay, well, if I'm not using that, what am I using? Because I've used Avast for a lot of stuff. And then so I looked at the ice cap one, and this was like a happy situation for me because I'll be 100% blunt. I'm not a giant fan of a lot of ice cap stuff because it's trying to meet a price point, and that's why. But it was a happy situation because I like the way that this skimmate collector is made. Instead of using a bunch of thumb screws, it uses like a ramped keyed flange with a
Yeah.
captive O-ring. And I think the most important for me is the barrel that holds the activated carbon. That removes the smell from the air exiting, much
Yeah.
larger than the Avast one, much larger.
Okay.
And that's mainly what I was going for. So I just filled that with Kolar Labs carbon. And now this has been more than a month now. And she's super stoked because I'm getting what I want, having a skimmer on there, and she's reporting no smell to me. So
Fantastic.
it is awesome.
Uh, that's great. I think companies got to get rid of thumb screws.
I maybe I'm a weird old dinosaur on this because it's one of those things. It's not a source of pride where I'm like, oh, you weenies, I do thumb screws, but it's like I have been for a while. But you're right. There's other ways to skin the cat. This,
Yeah, I mean, because thumb screws they can swell. People use
yeah.
the wrong ones and they swell and they stick. They can break and then you're just kind of fucked because you can't get them out, or
Oh
you
yeah.
can't, but it's a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah.
And you can screw everything up.
Yeah.
Um, and we're always talking about, you got to remove, if you can remove the extra steps, you're much more likely to do stuff, right?
Oh, that's a huge piece of my advice when I worked at stores and was just advising people. Every little design element about an aquarium, I would always tell people, don't make stuff hard. Don't put this thing way back there where you have to reach it. Don't make things difficult because difficult things are not going to get done. It's
Yeah.
just human nature.
I mean, even to the point of where, I mean, I know when I did my tank, when I moved, but it's this, I said for other people and for smaller tanks, you put a cabinet next to your tank or above on the wall, and you put all your electrical in there. And
Oh,
and
yeah, that makes me think of your current situation where
uh,
you put
the
yeah,
stuff outside, right?
and you'll mess with it. It's easy.
Right. So you go out there and go, oh, okay. Instead
Yeah.
of like, oh God, now I gotta get on my knees and go onto the house. Even just that little step, it just stops you. And the same thing with the thumb screw. It's like, oh, I've got to take 8 of these out, and it's gonna take 40 seconds each, which sounds like a stupid thing to say out loud,
Yeah.
but man, oh man, oh man, just the extra step you have to take. I mean, even with my Vertex calcium reactor now, the Bill 1 is not being used because the Vertex, the top comes off because it's a
Keyhole thing.
flange, a keyed
Yeah.
flange. And I had to refill it the other day. I was like, boop, 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 boop. And I
Yeah.
was super happy. I was like, oh, I'm never gonna use the other one. So yeah, make things easy to do. That's why
This is
that's another reason why I know we had Logan on and we talked about reef rookies. It's, when you start, dude, do the first tank you can. Make it so easy
yeah.
because you want to love it.
Yeah. I had done something years ago on a client's reactor that I thought was smart at the time, but so they have a reactor that has a lot of thumb screws on it. And I've always had this love affair with Molykote 111, this lubricant, and I
Yeah,
put them
you
on the
have.
thumb screws because I thought it would facilitate it. Well, over the years it made it gummy. And I still have that and I still mess with it and I still every time I do it I was like that wasn't the great. There maybe the constant thing with salt creep or something, but it turned the Molykote 111 gummy. And what I actually ended up doing is just making the thumb screws even more difficult to remove.
You basically put Loctite in there.
Yep.
Yeah. It's interesting stuff. All right, so you're happy with the skimmer, they're happy with the skimmer.
Yeah.
No blood and feces.
No blood and feces. Not yet. We're
That's
working on
always
it.
exciting.
God grows the seeds.
God grows
We
the seed.
sow the seeds.
Saltwateraquarium.com. Saltwateraquarium.com. I'm swimming over to saltwateraquarium.com because they have all the best deals.
They do have a lot of deals. They are a deal-centric place. If you want deals, go there. They have gamified deals. It's pretty awesome.
And they have 3 locations across the United States that they can get your package to you with a quickness.
Yeah, in fact, they have what are they calling it? VIP shipping if you need it, especially at this time of year or the holidays. And you can just you can select VIP shipping. I think you pay a little bit extra, but you jump the line and they ship your thing out first, as long as it's gotten your order before 1 o'clock.
They have one of their employees and they dress him up as like a golden Hermes and they hand him the package and he just runs
flies it to you.
right to you.
The saltwateraquarium.com's been supporting us forever. We really appreciate it. They've got some live streams now that are happening, I think, on Fridays that you can check out. So yeah, it's when you order from them, put in the notes something about reef beef just for fun. We'll see what happens.
Saltwateraquarium.com. Saltwateraquarium.com.
God grows the seeds. God grows we the seeds. Sow the seeds.
I want to show you a video. Can I show you a video?
Sweet. It's movie time.
It's movie time. If I can find the movie.
It's about two little clownfish.
Yeah. So this is in the anemone tank.
Oh, okay.
And the anemone tank now is mostly the Phylodiscus, the Hellfire anemones.
Yeah.
Because they're awesome. Because the Hemfrenchie, because I had that crash. And Hemfrenchie are freaking... I'm reaching the point where it's like, do I need to stop? Because they're not making it. And although I've got some from Chris Cap, and also I think there's like 8 species I've been getting, the stuff Chris Cap from Denver has sent me is doing great. They're a smaller species. The bigger species, I had the one that did well for years and I did nothing to it. And I'm just having a problem with the new ones. Anyway, Phylodiscus, they're worse for you. They're the mimic anemone. You don't want them to sting. They don't have anything that hosts in them naturally, except for now these artificially bred clowns, these clowns that don't occur in the wild.
Holy cow, they're edge cases, right? Because that anemone stings hard as hell.
Yes.
Wow, they're like in the clownfish world, they're like base jumpers. They're like, I don't care, we're gonna go in this thing.
All right, and they're fully in it.
But I guess that's interesting to show that whatever mechanism that clownfish used to do that, it can be quite robust.
Yeah, so there's a couple things here. I've got another video. I'll put that on too, because this one is over. Oh, here we go. They're only doing it at night right now, which is interesting. During the day, they don't host in anything. They don't go anywhere, and they stay apart during the day.
Yeah.
But anyway, so these are anemones that aren't supposed to host anybody, and these are clowns that are not supposed to host. So these are wild bred clowns. Never seen a wild anemone. I mean not wild bred clowns. What did I mean? Captive bred clowns. Yeah. Some weird morph. They're like snow fucker or something
or whatever. Yeah.
Snow murder clowns. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they are definitely, never seen a wild anything. And here they are in an anemone they're not supposed to host in. So,
which is akin to trying to live inside of a bonfire.
Yeah. So the hosting thing is, somebody was talking about hosting was like, they saw that this must have been online. They said that, artificially raised clowns, don't host in anemones. It's like they absolutely host in anemones.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. No, I've seen, because that's all I use, and that's all mostly what we have is captive bred. But sometimes they can, take a while to get to the anemone. But all across the board, I have them do that.
Yeah, sometimes they, they'll go and they'll live in some other coral as well.
Oh yeah, I've even had them do it in tridacna clams and bubble corals and gonioporas and.
These guys try to sleep in the Rhodactis as well, but that doesn't happen.
And so the Rhodactis wouldn't mind; it would slowly close over them.
Yeah, right. Well, they're little Rhodactis now.
Have you never been stung by that anemone?
No, I take precautions.
Because I'm not daring you to, but I wonder how bad it is.
I don't want any part of that magic unless you're here and we're filming.
Yes. And there's genitals involved.
No. Well, yours.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, go.
I'm looking at him now. I'm just going, oh God, that seems. I don't want to.
In an open wound, that's the way to go.
Yeah, maybe we could put him up your bum.
Just send me home in a body bag.
The anemone suppository.
Oh, it'll cure whatever ails you because you'll forget about everything else.
Whatever ails you.
Oh, dude, another hairless cat. That's your new buddy. Hairless cats have huge ears.
This is, oh God.
And it loves you.
It does. It loves everyone so far. Can you see it? Is it looking at you?
It is. And Richard hates hair.
This is, oh, I'm knocking stuff over.
You're knocking over Reefcebo. Careful, if you put that on it, it might grow hair.
This is, oh my God, she's killing me now.
That's a very cold cat, Richard.
Okay, the cat's not coming.
Probably just leave it there. It's your familiar.
Her name is, it's Lucifer Yolandi de Hoffren Azula. But I like his, no. Lucifer.
Richard, why?
Lucifer Yolandi de Hoffren.
Yeah. She's your familiar. But wait, I saw on your Facebook, like she took to you immediately.
Yeah, she's super well situated to deal with people.
Oh man, I was gonna hope she just stayed with us the whole show.
I gotta put her away because she's still not used to the other animals yet.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask. So, to the viewer, to the listener, I was delighted on this present. So I'm sure all y'all were. There might be some people concerned. Oh Lord, where's that cat's hair? And Richard's weird like that. He just likes cats. He likes animals that look like scrotums. It's just sort of his thing. Or a freshly hewn scrotum. But then again, he lives on the coast of California where the temperatures are very stable. And if you're a mammal that has no hair, you could do worse.
You could. Also, there's tanks in every room almost. So,
yeah,
we keep the temperature nice.
But that's what I was going to ask you real quick, just because I know that cats are so finicky. Like the other ones aren't pissed about it.
The other ones are super pissed.
Uh-oh.
They're pretty good. The first day they were great. And then yesterday or today there was a big dust up. But that's to be expected. We're introducing everybody slowly.
When they have to establish the hierarchy.
Yeah. We got dogs and cats to introduce. So the cats, the new cat, Yolandi, Lucy is Lucifer. Lucy is in her own room for now. And there's a glass door, so that's nice. So they can see each other now. And we had to paper it, and then we took the paper off, and so they've all met now.
But it's just like an acclimation box in a reef tank.
It's exactly like an acclimation box in a reef tank. We've got all the pumps covered because I don't want the cat to get sucked into him.
Yeah, for the air circulation. The fans in the room. Yeah, put on the cat guards on the fans.
So funny.
God grows the seeds. We sow the seeds.
Champion,
lighting and supply. Champion. That was in my talk in Boston. I said that I had finally made it because I show up as packaging material in Champion Lighting and Supplies packages. I don't know about every single one, but I'm shredded. A picture of me is shredded cardboard. I'm given the bird and I look grumpy. Okay?
And I'm holding it right now. And the reason is because Champion Lighting and Supply, they've got all kinds of products. Great. Todd knows everything. He loves the industry. He's a real hobbyist. He knows everything that's going on and he's great. And they love the planet more than anybody else that I know. And so they don't use any plastic in their packaging when they can. They take old boxes and they recycle them by putting them through a machine that shreds them up. And I'm holding in my hand a Ben Johnson print that they've used to make into shredded cardboard, and I'm keeping it till it falls apart because I love it so much.
Yeah, if you hold on to one of them and make a shrine out of it, no one's gonna judge you too much.
If you get them, you could get it signed at Reef Retreat.
Bring it to me.
We love we love Champion because it's the only place you can actually right now buy our product, Reefcebo. So go buy it.
Reefcebo, which does absolutely nothing
and
everything.
Available at Champion
Lighting and Supply.
It's too long a commercial.
God grows the seeds. We sow the seeds.
I got something else to show you.
Show
This
me
is gonna
some
piss you
other.
off.
And once again, Richard is leaving the set of Reef Beef from the comforts of his captain's chair to retrieve another artifact of which, to be 100% honest with you, I don't know what it is.
So you were just in Boston, right?
Yes,
And you saw our friend Dong,
I did.
who we have not yet had on the show because getting people on the show is just work, and we got a huge list, and we definitely want him on. And you wrote in the notes for this show you wanted to say something about that, and I just wanted to show you this.
Yep, there it is there.
I've been doing this for about 3 or 4 months now.
3 or 4 months, really?
Yeah. What is this? You tell everyone what I'm showing, what I just showed.
It is a very particular, he calls it fish sauce. It is anchovy sauce, but it's a very particular one that threw me off because he's adding it. And I thought, not like, Dong has like PhD and is like a retired pharmacologist. So like, in that age-old argument, it was like, oh, some people get offended because they think people that have PhDs are know-it-alls or whatever, but that's ridiculous. As someone who has studied a great deal in something. So when I saw he was adding it, it's like I knew in my head, I was like, that's crazy time. Like, how is that a thing? But, when I went to visit him and he explained it to me, and it's a very particular, I don't know that it has to be that brand, but I think an important thing, at least that he was saying, is it needs to be some sort of fish sauce that is not pasteurized. The pasteurization process, he said, was bad. He also chose one that didn't have things like sodium benzoate or EDTA or whatever sort of preservative in it. And I think there's a lot of details on the table that could be hashed out, but he said he started dosing. He was dosing it. He feels comfortable saying this level of 1 ml per 100 gallons per day. Now, that is his system, and that's so subjective depending on what system you have. But he felt safe saying that you're not really going to mess up your tank if you went to that dosage, and then you play with it after that.
And in his system, he says if your nitrate's above 10, if his nitrate gets to be above 10, he doesn't dose it.
Yeah, that was true. He carefully monitors his phosphate and nitrate, something which I don't do. But so if you decided to add something like that, you should keep tabs on your nutrients. And I don't remember what he said for phosphates, but yeah, he indeed said once he gets a 10 ppm nitrates, which I don't know how you check that because I have a hell of a time with nitrate test kits. And
yeah,
it's like ever so different shade of pink. And I'm not colorblind, but I cannot make that distinction. But
even the auto tester is, oh wow,
problematic. But
it's coming down.
it will put a link for it because it was a very specific one. But if you found another fish sauce that was not pasteurized and does not have preservatives in it, you could experiment with that. But
I want to throw a huge caution. Maybe Snowman will put caution up on the caution. We could call the episode Caution.
Caution.
You got to do the hands.
Those like jazz hands.
You got to say it. You can't just do the hands. You got
okay. Caution. Let me put it together.
Okay.
Caution.
That's fucking perfect. Because this is the same kind of idea I had with bullion.
Yeah.
Although Dong is smarter than me, clearly, because there's never mind.
Squirrel.
There's a thing of never mind. Again, twice. I noticed with Interceptor that after I dosed Interceptor, polyp extension was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because there's a gravy flavor in there.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, let's use it to pop the corals open to get them to feed. I'm always looking for, something to get them ready to eat. And the bullion did not go well. We don't talk about the bullion times. Oh. But then I saw that Dong was adding the fish sauce, and I was like, oh, well, that makes some kind of sense. I probably think I don't need any of this in my tank.
Yeah.
Because I think the amount of unrinsed fish food that I put in there is probably pretty close to what's going on in here.
You feed very heavily.
But I don't feed heavily like that every day.
Yeah.
I also don't dose this every day because I'm lazy. But you know, cheap and easy. Let's see. So I don't know.
And it was weird. So the first thing I did was pulled it off the table. He was talking to Todd Crunkle, and I picked it up off the table. So I was like, okay, maybe. And his corals were incredibly healthy.
Tell us
Uh,
about that.
His obviously I've been doing this for a long time, so I've been in 50,000. I've been in many basements, Richard. I've been to tons of people's houses that have these crazy splayed out, systems of growing out all these corals. So it wasn't like I was like, whoa. In that regard, it was like 1,000 other scenarios that I'd seen. But the more I looked, first off, I couldn't find, and man, I'm telling you, I have a very fine eye for finding pests, red flatworms and Aiptasia and on and on and on. There was a few Aiptasia in his Zoa colonies, but he barely had any pests whatsoever. And the corals, it was just almost 99.9% SPS, but the coral coloration was something that did make me pause. I was like, man, I don't know what he's doing. And I'm not sitting here saying that that would be for Dong to answer, but I
Okay.
don't know if that came from this anchovy sauce or if that had been like that before, but just intense coloration and growth.
Okay. So we need to have Dong on and we need to talk to him about his coloration.
Yeah.
What is he doing and what does he think that that's for? Okay. That sounds great.
And that's what I would say with anchovy sauce. Nobody's dragging this up and saying this is the answer to all your problems. And that this is one of those things where you would carefully experiment on. And if you saw any adverse results to any of it, like stop doing it right away. But I was gonna say when I turned the bottle over, I sort of felt like, as part of Reef Beef and as part of a skeptical person, I was like, I'm gonna find something to say what the fuck on this. And I saw MSG, monosodium glutamate.
Yeah.
No, and I was like, MSG is sort of weird, no? And I asked Dong that, and he goes, not only is it not bad for the corals, in fact, he sort of thought it was part and parcel of one of the main things. Because he told, and again, this can to me and my uneducated brain, I was like, I would have to look into all that because I don't know all these things you're telling me to be true. But he said that coral polyps have L-glutamine, or some of them do have like amino acid receptors on them that sort of cause them to reach out. And the way he was explaining to me, there's receptors on a coral polyp that can attach to amino acids, and that triggers a feeding response. So he was saying that the L-glutamine, that part of MSG, is what was he believes that was causing the polyps to reach out. And then it's funny that I tear this stuff apart in my mind. So then the other stuff is fish liquid, fermented fish liquid that's so fine. And I think it's just too easy to say in a blanket statement, then the corals are eating the anchovy particles of how small is this stuff? And it's like,
No.
I don't know about that. And I've been thinking, like, I'm not saying it's a bad stuff or not, but what if it is just the MSG making corals open up and want to feed, and then the anchovy component of it is adding to your nitrates and phosphates if you have a deficit of that. But, I was thinking critically about it, and it's like, what if it's not the complete package that he may think it is, and it's just the MSG making corals open, and all you'd have to do is put MSG in a tank then.
I love you so much. I
Because I
love
tore it
you.
up.
And you tore it up in your own head and you didn't call Dong an asshole. And that's great. We'll have to have him on. We'll talk about this. So that is Mind Story in its, that's a crystalline version of a Mind Story. And again, people think Mind Story is negative because everyone wants to think anything. It's so hard to talk critically about anything without people thinking that you're being negative, but we're not. We're just trying to figure it out, right? So the idea, so maybe Dong's done it. I know, I think I've done MSG into my tank like 15 years ago, but clearly stopped. So, I mean, that's worth trying and seeing. How can Rich, so skeptical person, be putting anchovy sauce into his tank? Well, it's cheap and it's easy and it's just like fish food. There's no real problem that I saw with it. There's, I mean, your fish food that you get, some of your frozen fish food is for people and it's just been repackaged, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I not only did I conceptually have no problem with it, but it's really inexpensive. And
Yeah.
Dong's been doing it for a long time. So right away, you kind of go, okay, someone's been adding this for a long, this, I'm not testing to see if this is dangerous. We have a pretty good belief that it's not dangerous at all. So I figure let's try it. I'll try another kind of amino acid kind of delivery system. And like I say, I think when I'm feeding, I'm putting a billion times more of what's in this into my tank.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen a huge feeding response from it. So I don't know. I'm also trying a new amino acid mix. So I'm doing two things at once, which is wrong, but
Yeah.
too bad.
No, that's crazy. No one's sitting here like saying no, dong. I mean, this is a thing that we need to we're checking and tearing up, and it works great for him. He's a very smart guy, and we just need to see if it makes sense for us. Or and that's what this community is about, is experimenting with things, and then because you don't really parse little details out without the million monkeys.
Yeah. And if you're a new reefer, don't add anchovy
No,
sauce. You
no.
don't, there's no need to. All this stuff that, it's like it's like anything else. When you look down, when you look and you see all the other skateboarders, you know, doing kick flips, um, you might want to learn just to ollie first.
Oh, for sure.
So it's that kind of thing. You don't, it's, I could totally see overdosing this would be bad.
And here's a huge caveat that I thought right away into
Just like
my
any
tank.
food. Just like any food. Yeah.
Your tank, as an example of amount of coral flesh. What I saw in Dong's basement, coral flesh, just like your tank, can barely see the rock. This is not, I would say, this is not something you start dosing in a tank that has six coral frags in it. That's
Right.
not, you're going to cause algae outbreaks and kill the corals. This
Right.
is this is something you start adding for the nutrient component of a very mature reef tank.
That's good. We should look at coverage more. Although from above, my tank's like 100% coverage. So we need a
Yeah.
better way. Maybe we'll get Chris Jury back on, or at Reef Retreat, we'll talk with Chris about how do we how do we come up with a number for this. But yeah, I think you've hit it on the head. A couple of frags, you're fine. Don't do it. But a million. I also realized that I'm not feeding enough.
Yeah, it made me think, because when a tank like yours, of course you have it all down, but I'm just saying the mineral component draw, like between you doing the reactor and kalkwasser and all the stuff, and everyone that I've ever spoke to in the industry that has these very mature tanks with massive amounts of like alkalinity draw, it'll blow your mind when you can calculate how much component is being drawn out on a daily basis. We've covered this before. It's
Yeah,
mind-boggling.
I am my DKH right now is down. I just saw this yesterday, so I have a note to check on it. And right now, my DKH is 7.5, 7.05, and that's lower than I want it to be. And I'm not sure what's going on, so I have to dig into that today. But I'm also not panicking. But mine will drop 1 DKH to 1.5 DKH in a day if I'm not adding anything. It's a
But
lot.
but so in the mineral draw, I was thinking, it's not an epiphany or anything. I'm saying that's going to be similar for nutrients going into the tank as well. Mineral component, and then, amino acids, nutrients, whatever. When these corals are this massive and growing this quickly, that you got to try to look into what could be a limiting factor.
Sure. Sure. And I know, something weird happened in my tank over the last 2 months and it's coming back. So this drop into alkalinity might also be everything going, hey, hey, we're up and running again, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So you gotta You got to kind of balance it. If there was a recipe and a flow chart, this would be easy.
It was funny. He showed me where his calcium reactor was, and I remarked because his calcium reactor was not dripping. It was literally like pissing out of a 1/4 inch tube.
Yeah.
Like very fast, like very full. I was like, wow.
Well, that's one of the problems that I know a few people who've reached this problem, which is, using the camera FX is it only does 140 mil a minute.
Yeah.
Is its max. That's
Yeah.
not enough for a calcium reactor on a big system. That's why I moved to the Soul.
The Chimera FX STP, the continuous duty one. Yeah.
Yeah, that just doesn't run enough. And
But
that's also why
it itself can be a limiting factor. Yeah, because
Right.
it just can't go. You can make it go so fast, you're just ripping through tubing sets.
Right. That's why I added Kalkwasser as well. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is dumb. I should do Kalk.
God grows the seeds. God grows we the seeds. Sow the seeds.
Does your aquarium have hair algae? Is your turkey very dry? It sounds like you need Reefcebo.
Reefcebo makes a great stocking stuffer. Get yours today at championlighting.com.
God grows the seeds. God grows we the seeds. We sow the seeds.
I am out of Kalk, by the way. I need to go buy another 50-pound bag of it.
50-pound bag?
Yeah, I take a 50-pound bag and put it in a big 7-gallon bucket.
Do you pay the reef tax and get some brand from our industry, or you get some bulk like pickling lime?
I get pickling lime.
Yeah.
I get pickling lime. Unless, in the grand scheme of things, paying the reef tax for Kalk is not that big a deal. And so what I try to do now, especially now with the economy, with what it's doing, is I like to buy stuff from companies I like when I need it. So if the price is not ridiculous, I'll just order it from one of our sponsors, because also getting me a 50-gallon container of Kalk, it comes with its own pain in the ass, right? So two or three 3-gallon buckets might just be easier and make more sense.
Yeah.
I got this one like 8 years ago, my big bag of lime, because somebody was doing a big order of lime, and it was like,
and it held okay?
Here's 50 cents for my big bucket. It was like, I think it was $2.
Did you kept it really well, really tight?
I kept it in. I think I have these 7-gallon buckets from Salt. I think they're Red Sea Salinity buckets that have the seal and the lock.
The twist one with the big O-ring in it.
Yeah. So that's what I keep it in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably one of the best scenarios to keep it in.
Yeah. But maybe, if I don't need to have 50 pounds of lime on site, so maybe I'll just start using a smaller container and have more space.
This is minutia detail, but so that's Aqua Vitro. It's Seachem's sort of boutique line of products.
I've never used it. I just get the buckets when I
used it once, and the buckets are incredible, and I have no problem with it, but it uses like anhydrous components.
Yeah.
So it gets a little crazy hot when you mix it. And I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just saying it was a little different for me. I just wanted to do regular stuff.
What else about your visit to Dong?
No, I just want to say he was gracious. He's the one that drove me to the airport in lieu of a Uber. And then it was so cool. We stopped at a dim sum place.
Yeah.
And it was so great. Obviously, I've had dim sum before, but it was good to go with Dong because it didn't look like a place where non-dim sum eaters go to a lot. And
right. So if you ask for it spicy, you would go not white guy spicy.
No, but see, I am a spicy white guy. So you
you don't do spicy?
No, I definitely do spicy. I
Oh,
love
no,
to
no.
eat like
In Thailand, they would bring it spicy and it was terrible. And somebody with us would say, not white person spicy. Make it
yeah, no,
Thai
no.
spicy.
I think I was the only white dude there, but
Yeah,
it was so
nice.
cool for me because Dong was like talking to the waitress and the people bringing by the carts, and it was all in what was it, Cantonese? And it was just cool. And they were like chattering, and then they had the card and they're writing down. And Dong is just putting stuff on the table. I'm like, thank you, bro. I'm so appreciative. But it's like pump the brakes a little bit because there's no way. And he goes, no, no, we're gonna put this in a container and send you off with it too. And I was like, and they, man, those carts just keep coming by, and it's like, yes, I want everything, but it doesn't fit inside my body that easily.
It's really cool. Dim
But it
sum's
was
fun, huh?
incredible food. It was great.
That's
And
really cool.
we had a great conversation. We were talking about cultural stuff too. That he was I was curious and asking him about Chinese culture, but we had a great discussion about my use of Off Reef. Maybe we'll save that for another show too, because he was sort of sharing with me what he thought the cons were about it, and it gave me pause thinking about it. It sounded. I mean, should we go into it or should we?
I think you should give. I think it'd be shitty not to say at
That's
least
true.
what you're
That's true.
talking about, because that's why I'm going. Fuck! I have to write a note down to ask what this is.
Well, and since he is like a biochemist of a doctorate level, I was like, hey man, I don't understand how all those minerals fit into one liquid without, you would think it'd turn into a rock. And so he said that it's calcium
It's
formate,
it's the
it's the
formate.
formic acid. So he said the whole liquid is like of a pH to keep all the ions away from each other. And it's when you put it in a tank where it all gels back together. But now again, huge respect, Dong. But he was saying things, and it's like I don't know. I'm skeptical enough. I don't care who it is. I just you say a thing, and I need to go further. I need to not just take something at face value, because he was suspecting that formic acid might irritate some fish, and I was like, that sounds good. I just, could be neither here nor there. So the formic acid of that, he was saying how what is it, that formic acid is a form of food like acetylsilic acid and stuff like that for bacteria. So it's a carbon dose source. So if your aquarium's not doing well and there's a population of bacteria and there's not a great strain of bacteria, it's like throwing gasoline on a fire. Or we just don't. I don't know what we know in the industry about these different like people like Salem are doing some hard work on this, but what if there's a bad strain of bacteria that could grow in aquariums that really love formic acid and they just take off?
Sure.
But it's weird. There's a very smart person telling you a thing that makes sense, but then there's also he started scaring me, but I was like, I've been using, and I asked him this. I said, I've been using AFR for like 5 years now on a massive like commercial scale. And there's been some quirks about tanks here and there, but there's been nothing that made me say, oh, AFR is bad. And then he asked me right away, he's like, I follow your page, and he's like, you're like a big water change guy. And I was like, yeah, I've always known that I change more water than like the next person. I'm just big on a water change. And he's like, that might be that you're just bringing a lot of that stuff, keeping it from
Yeah.
building up.
So it's really, all these conversations are really interesting. I'm but but to a large extent, I mean, and it's fun, but if we're just cogitating on what could be, um, that's I mean, I've always kind of squinted at that. At some point, I mean, it's neat to squint and talk about it, but we need to see if it really works or not. Is it true or not?
When there's been weird things like that 4 foot tank that I do for a year, it's like I couldn't put LPS in there. And it would
Yeah.
just crater in. And I was watching the fish every time when I was there, and I asked the client to watch the fish. No, it wasn't them. And it didn't matter where I put them, up, down, whatever what it is, trachyphilia, plerogyra, any LPS was just eating shit. And I through process of elimination, I was like, is it this? No, it is not that. and I dose heavily AFR in there. Well, that sort of slowly went away, and now I can keep LPS in there. So again, it's like you can hear a thing, but also you shouldn't discount what you're observing as well.
There's also like the basic acclimation stuff. When you change salts, you can really throw off everything in your tank. When you can. Then there's of course, there's tanks that are just bulletproof, and you could, drop fucking a pound of aluminum shavings in there and nothing happens. So,
I mean, one of the most important tenets of reef keeping is stability. So you change these things that aren't even super visible to you. It reminds me of our last episode where Logan was talking about how he had that wine glass tank that was growing SPS, and then you add macroalgae to it, you're going to completely change the nutrient profile in the tank enough to make SPS go, I'm out. And what was it? Was it allelopathy? Was it massive changing of the nutrient profile? Was it? But you've changed things so fast that the SPS are like later.
It's fascinating. I'm trying to get more excited again about the mind story esoteric discussions. What do we know? But I'm so negative towards them because I see so many people go, oh, I should do that.
Yeah.
And so and also I see so many of the discussions, and I do it too because I'm what's the word? Hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite. The story of the thing we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this because we think it's this. It's like, okay, we'll do it. I want to see it done. I want to, we need the information, I want to see excitement. I want to see the same excitement for a project when the project is done, which we almost never do, as we see for the excitement when a project is announced.
So a lot of talking, but not a lot of results.
Yeah. And this is how long have we been in this hobby? More importantly, how long have I been looking at it from a philosophical eye, from a skeptical kind of thing? A little originally, almost
and still drowning in mind stories.
Yeah, it's all the same. It's all the same, and it's starting to
data.
It's starting to,
we don't have to wax and wane too much into it, but it makes me wonder, like, is it a thing like, oh, that costs a lot of money to get this data, and people run into that? Or people that cozy up into the industry, and then manufacturers are like, hey, don't dig into that too much. We'll pull your sponsorship. And then so they like, oh yeah, we didn't mess with that. Is that a thing, do you think?
I don't think it's that one.
Okay.
I think it
that's quite cynical.
But my family was on me this morning for not being cynical enough. Essentially.
Oh my God, when you're telling Richard he's not cynical enough, I don't know what to think.
I'm skeptical, not cynical.
That's true.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen, I think, not just because of time and money and space, but I think our pool of people who would want to do it shrinks pretty rapidly because we churn through people in the hobby so quickly. Also, the amount of shade you get, but I don't think that's a big enough problem. I was actually talking to Libby and fantasizing the other day, but I don't know if I want to do this. I am not, I shouldn't even get another cat. I shouldn't be making huge decisions. But I was thinking, it was like, oh, does my lab, do I need to move it to offsite lab?
Huh.
How cool would it be if I had like a real wet lab where I could,
Yeah, but then it draws you out of the house.
Well, but is that a good thing or not? I don't know.
Oh, that's true too.
It would be so much easier, but then again, it's also so much easier to have it here. It's weird.
Yeah, and then you get more and more cats, and then you're away from your cats.
But if I had a lab, I could do water changes onto the floor.
Oh yeah.
And all of this crap wouldn't be in my house.
Yeah, it would be another guest bedroom.
It would probably be fucking reptiles. Because
who did that?
It'd be fucking a big bog.
Yeah.
And then
Dagobah.
I'd have
The
to
Dagobah River.
Dagobah. The Dagobah. Then I'd have to go somewhere, and if on spawning, I'd have to go somewhere, and I was
Oh,
already thinking about putting the corals for spawning down under the house because most of the year, why am I looking at nothing? Why
yeah.
don't I make these into something that I want to experiment with more? Really, these are just tanks to hold on to coral until November.
A lot of nothing and then a whole bunch of activity.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but then again, making it easy, that means I actually have to go outside and down 5 stairs during the spawn to check. I don't
And
want to
then
do that.
crawl like a hairless cat on the ground.
So I don't know what the answer to all these things are. It is interesting,
If
though.
you know the answer, let us know down in the comments.
Yeah. Should I do anything or should I do nothing?
Tell us what to do. We are your automatons.
I'm loving the crap out of this anemone tank.
That's cool. You gotta keep loving something in the industry.
I couldn't find a pump of the right size and
Circulation.
yeah, in tank.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't find a right pump of the right size, and I should do this on a video. But anyway, I ended up just taking half of a gyre off,
Oh,
and then all of a sudden I have the perfect size pump.
I guess that wouldn't hurt anything.
No, it's fine. It's great.
And no one really makes like a mini gyre.
They do. Jabao makes a mini gyre, but it's too mini
Too many.
for what I needed it. But I did put that in the big tank. I got to go
Oh.
through that and show you a tour of that too, where all the
Yeah.
flow is. I've got ideas. We got to do it. I got to do it.
Ideas.
God grows the seeds. God grows we sow the seeds.
Powered by PolypLab.
Powered by PolypLab.
Powered by PolypLab.
Powered by PolypLab.
The year is 2025, and we are powered
By
Polyp.
Lab.
Powered by PolypLab.
Powered by PolypLab.
We love the Genesis blocks from PolypLab. It's
Big
one
time.
of their products that we like a lot, and we're using them all over the place. And we also like the Reefroids as a coral food. It's a
Mhm.
nice, stinky food. And I want to talk about Phil. Phil, who is the head of Powered by PolypLab things.
He's the head polyp.
And Phil's great. He's got a great attitude. He supports the industry more than just trying to sell stuff.
He's got a good sense of humor, obviously.
Yeah. He wants to sell stuff that works. And I wrote to Phil because I want to run an experiment. And I said, Phil, what information do you have on X? And Phil said, oh, I don't have this and this. I don't think anybody does, but I do have this and this and this. I'll get it to you. And it was like, thank you so much, Phil, because sometimes when you write to people and you go, hey, I'm doing a study and I'm interested in X, they go, no.
They say, well, have fun.
PolypLab products are good. We like them. And that was the other one I had. I've got it right here. I've got one of their viewers,
Yeah.
which I like that a lot.
You put it on your phone camera and everything looks groovy.
Yeah, and I got to make switches for all my lights. So I flip a switch and it's the proper light for the best photograph.
Yeah.
PolypLab.
PolypLab.
God grows the seeds. God grows we sow the seeds.
Let's get, we got to ask Reef Beef. Let's get to
Yeah.
that. This is from Tribbit. It says, I wonder if, actually it doesn't say it just says, wonder if Rich and Ben could talk about the differences reef keeping outside of the hobby. Large service tank, public aquaria, commercial and aquaculture facilities. What are the differences?
Since you have technically way more experience at a higher level than I do, I want you to go first and then I want to follow up after you.
Okay. I think the main difference can be summed up by Wat Mondell. What Matt told me once, or we were in a conversation, and I heard him answer this question. This is not service tanks. This is more like public aquaria, but I think it does apply to service tanks. You know, in your home tank, when you want to pump and you want to move something around, you just go buy a pump and you move it around. You can't do that anywhere else.
Absolutely the same for service accounts.
It's not your tank. It's not your money. You can't just do things. I think in some service tanks you might, but you're not just going to go spend $100 of their money and show up with a new pump.
Depends on the client.
Yeah. But
And
mostly you're going to talk to them.
you've had. Yeah.
Yeah, but you've had a pre-conversation about sometimes I might show up with a pump and might cost this much money. Is that cool?
You just show up with a $1,500 service bill and they're like, yo, we got to talk about this beforehand.
Yeah. So That's the biggest difference is you can't just do things. The other difference is you can't really leave a mess anywhere.
Yeah.
And you can't do whatever you want. If you this is more public aquarium. I think in a service tank, deciding what to feed, you can make those decisions and say, "Hey,
Totally.
we're moving these foods."
Yeah.
If you want to try out a new food in a public aquarium that's novel, like this fish sauce, there's no
Uh-huh.
way. There's no way I'm
No.
adding fish sauce to a tank without going through approval from the vet.
Yeah.
So, that's my short answer. What else you got?
I did a rare thing for Ben. I made an outline.
Oh fuck, I see it. Oh, you made a list. Holy crap, who are
So
you?
I know, I know it's mind blowing, but sometimes when I put my efforts towards it, it's a typical ADHD thing.
But okay, oh, here's another typical. I'm sorry. If you're not into knowing about brain health, just look at the wall right now.
Yeah,
We should not make fun of you for this victory. You
yeah,
did a cool thing. There's
yeah.
no reason to make fun of you. You did a great thing. If you never do it again, that's fine too. If you do it again, that's fine. But what a fucking, I was like, fucking A, right on, Ben. That's
These are the
thing we
kind
should
of things
say.
that are helpful when I do it, and I feel
Yeah.
like a little victory.
I want to support what you did, not go, oh, why don't you do it more?
Yeah.
So there, this is awesome. Let's see what's on your list, buddy.
So number one, I thought it was really cool, and I guess we should have had you do it too, in case someone didn't know. But so I worked at the Houston Zoo as a zookeeper from 2001 to 2004. And I was mostly hired to work on their 4,000-gallon reef exhibit. But the longer you're at a public aquarium and you show yourself to be good at doing this stuff, they'll give you other exhibits. So by the time I left, I had a whole bunch of other exhibits. But I thought it was real cool when I got to the zoo because we had a lab in there and we mixed every single additive that we did, including potassium iodide. We had all the raw components, magnesium, calcium, all the alkalinity buffers, everything. We
Yeah.
mixed it, and I wish I could remember more about it. Some of them weren't that difficult, but we had like magnetic stirring hot plates and beakers and all that. I remember the only one that I remember that was that weird. We even mixed strontium, but the only one that I remember was a little weird was the iodide whatever we made because it was like a dark crystal that was like sort of like off gassed when you opened it, and it was a little creepy and stainy.
And you
But
had a fume hood, right? You were doing all this
yeah,
in the good.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
that was also when that stuff wasn't available.
yeah, that's true. That's true because I said the date. So yeah.
It's
And
fascinating.
the curator was like super into doing it yourself on that level. So I was like, oh shit, because it's like you're going to be mixing all your additives, and I was like, oh cool.
I'm going to jump in.
Yeah.
Not only,
Oh, y'all made your own salt.
yeah, we made our own salt, which was a thing, and a bunch of research, and then why would you do that, and how do you do that? So also you can't just add animals. You got to get
Yeah.
approval for the kind of animals and for the cost of the animals, and that can be trying in the coral world because very often by the time you get approval for an animal, it's been sold.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to figure out some way to do that. But here's a whole nother thing. Your assignments, the tanks you're taking care of, it's not necessarily up to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get assigned tanks. After 3 or 4 years, at my public aquarium job, they were like, okay, I think we're going to take you off the reef and put you on. Actually, it was more than that. It was like after 8 years. And we're going to put you on, the temperate tank.
And I guess you could talk about it, but it's just like, but I love the reef. It's like,
Well,
we need you on the temperate.
I was like, well, look, okay, I don't care about the temperate tank. I have no experience in that. I'm happy to be on the team. But I'm here for this trop saltwater. That's what I know, and that's what I do. And I've got like 9 years experience or whatever, all this experience on how to do this. It feels really weird to take me off of it. And I might quit if you do that.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, if you take the joy out of it for someone, then they can quit, and so that's a
Yeah.
dangerous move on their part.
Yeah, but but they also
And they would have a
I
meeting and tell you, like, Richard, we want you to be a team player. And it's like,
right,
but it's
right,
not fun.
right, right, right.
I'm not a slave. I can walk out of this place if I want
Right.
to.
And no, I didn't say that because I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay.
Yeah.
It was like, no, please don't take me off this. I don't need to be in charge of it,
Yeah.
but I at least give me the 10 years on it,
Yeah.
And then like the Nautilus tank, I was taking care of the Nautilus and I was like working on breeding. And it's like, the eggs are at least a year. You sit on them for at least a year. And I
Jeez.
was like, please don't take me off this,
Yeah.
why, but, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe their MO is we need everybody to work on every tank. So we don't care if there's a learning curve all the time for everybody. But so it's that kind of thing too. You get assigned things that you don't care about and either you figure a way to care about them. I was on the swamp.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, gator.
They go by.
After a little bit, it's not as fun for me. So, but that's all right.
Number two is sort of like the scale of things. It was fun to work with. So for number two, I put the massive amount of caulk washer used on the 4,000-gallon tank I was in charge of, because we used like a 55-gallon barrel, which to you worked on the giant, way bigger tank than what I've been around. But to what I was doing, this was a massive scale. So every night we would drip caulk washer, and it might even have been a 75-gallon barrel. It was a giant barrel that I'd have to set up every night to drip through. And as far as the scale of things, I think the pump on my tank was from a company called Fibrock, and if I remember correctly, it was like 30,000 gallons an hour. And the skimmer was a RK2, and it was 12 foot tall. It was just massive stuff. Was fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I'm jaded to the massive stuff, having been around so much massive stuff.
Yeah.
But it is really cool. It was really fun to hear Logan talk about going to Andrew Sandler's.
Yeah.
Because he'd never seen that kind of thing before. And it's like, oh yeah, no, it is so mind-blowing the first few times you see something of that scale, or Joe Waiulo's or any public aquarium.
It's also weird. I don't know if I can come up with necessarily too many examples. You might, but like, it's also not, the bigger you go in a tank, it's not like you take the same set of this is how you do this and just multiply it. It doesn't exactly work like that. Like, you'd think that Georgia Aquarium has a turnover of 4 to 5 times an hour.
The million gallons.
You'd catch the building on fire. I don't even know how you do that.
It's interesting. Mega reef tank is not the same thing. I mean, it's just not even built of the same stuff. What was used in the concrete, and is that a problem?
And even stuff like this is how much light this needs, and this is how it's not, you don't just attach an exponent to it and grow it like that. It's just a different set of problems.
Yeah. Now check this out. Running halide bulbs on a mega reef tank, we had 86,000 watt fixtures, right?
First of all, the price of each bulb, and then the price of running that, like,
yeah.
Good
and
night.
Now think about changing the bulbs.
Oh, I heard the Georgia Aquarium would put a boat on the water and go around and do that?
Yeah, that's a great way to do it.
That's
but
crazy.
It's 86 bulbs. 86. And it's they're the stadium bulbs.
Yeah.
So you got to turn it off.
Let it cool down.
You got to open the reflector. You got to open the splash guard. Clean the splash guard, both sides. Then change the bulb. Put it in and hope you haven't changed the focus point of the where it's aimed, right?
Yeah.
So in Georgia, Steve would go out and do it, right? I think that's right. At our place, where I worked, we weren't allowed to change the bulbs.
Oh, okay. There was like a maintenance crew.
The electricians changed the bulbs.
Oh.
So it took even longer. And also we had some bulbs that had to be changed by working on a cherry picker. So the bulbs always got aimed badly.
Oh, because they didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, and they didn't care. So it was
Yeah.
like, oh, you can't just change the bulbs. We have to be there when you change the bulbs to make sure that they're aimed properly. And then we were using two different kinds of bulbs. So then it was like, oh God, now we've got to watch this. So it's a whole lot of stuff that seems like you should just do it that you don't get to.
That reminds me because I'm pretty good at plumbing, and there was a time when I was at the zoo that we had to do this pretty minor plumbing change on something. And I told the senior course is like, oh, I want to do that, and he's like, they don't allow you to do that.
Yeah.
It's the on-site like handyman, whatever. He was like a licensed whatever, and I was like, dude, it's so simple. And he's like, you will get fired. You can't
Yep.
touch it. And then the dude was nice enough, but he did it and he sprayed the wooden staircase in the wall with purple primer everywhere and I was so pissed. And I didn't say anything to him, but I was like, dude, you couldn't have made like a bigger mess if you just threw the bottle at the wall.
Yeah. We had engineers that would come in and do a job and not clean up after themselves, not vacuum it up or sweep it up. And it was like, how is this fucking okay? If we're on the same team, why am I cleaning up after your shit?
Yeah.
They got better at that. And I guess now with electric shop vacs, with battery shop vacs, it was like, why are we at odds with? I don't understand
We're supposed to be a team. Y'all are
I don't
making a
understand
mess.
the world though. As us neuroatypicals.
Yeah.
We're like, you said we were a team, but you hate me. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm just
you come
trying
into
to
my house and leave a mess and then just leave, and I'm supposed to be okay with it.
I'm just trying to help. Okay,
Yeah.
what else you got?
Number 3, the way I had to write a short paper to justify to the admin of why we needed to buy more salt so I could do more water changes. It ties into you can't do whatever you want to do, but I told my boss, I said, man, my exhibit was 4,000 gallon reef tank. And yeah, I saw the log of what the guy before me was doing, and I was like, I would like to do larger, more frequent water changes. And my senior was like, you're gonna have to bring that up with admin. And I was like, why? And he's like, that's just how it goes. And I was like, well, how do we do that? And he goes, you're literally gonna write like a little paper justifying, stating what you want to do and justifying how it benefits the exhibit and so on and so forth. It was sort of fun, but I was like, damn, just change more water. And he's like, write a paper. So I did it. They let me, but I had to,
you got to justify it.
Yeah.
At the same time, I feel, every new person who comes into a public aquarium job wants to change everything.
Yeah.
I totally get that. And you can't. That's the thing. It's not your system.
I had a number 4 that's related to but it's the way you can't just do anything you want. A, how I wanted to change the lighting. B, how I wanted to change some of the equipment. So there was a thing on my reef tanks. There were 5.5-foot squares that were tied together and then tied to a common 1,000-gallon sump. So it's cheating a little bit to say 4,000 gallons because all that 4,000 gallons wasn't on display. You know what I mean? It was supposed to be,
but it was a 4,000-gallon water volume.
Yeah. And it was supposed to represent reef zones, the reef crest and reef blah, blah, blah.
That's cool.
But each of the tanks had up front 2 1,000-watt ventures, and in the back 2 400-watt radiums. And the ventures were, I mean, this is 2001 to 2004, but they were like running on tar ballast and like yellow. They were like ripped out of a baseball stadium sort of deal. And it was, about that time was like when sort of some of these electronic ballasts and stuff were like newer for this kind of thing. And I was like, man, we could put a higher Kelvin bulb in. There were those globy ventures.
Yeah.
Like that. It just yellow as hell. I remember when I first got there, I wasn't sure was the yellow the lighting or did we need to run carbon? And they let me do an experiment where I ran carbon and it didn't change anything. It was the damn bulb that was like, what were they, 4,500 Kelvin or something like that?
Wow, yeah.
And, again, it was the thing like, because I was like, oh, I want to change it. And my senior was like, man, that was so dumb. He was like, up in the attic, we have like a pallet of venture bulbs. He's like, they're not going to let you do that until they use them. I'm like, this is dumb. And he's like, this is how it's done. And it's like, oh, you guys don't make any sense. And then there was this thing. It's funny. He was right on this. It was a thing where I wanted to change the type of skimmer that was on the smaller units, but I was saying, it would make more sense if we drilled into these fiberglass tanks on the back so we could this and that. And he's like, bro, every idea that people come up with and they're drilling this thing. And he's like, if we're done with that, it's like a piece of Swiss cheese and this makes no sense. We can't just nilly-willy drill things and then 5 years later change this. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. But, what did I, so the last one, number 5, I said the reef tank I took care of at the Houston Zoo was my sole responsibility, but I still couldn't just do anything that I wanted to. At bigger places like where Richard worked, you were often part of a team working on an aquarium, so you have to be decent at working with other humans besides aquariums.
Yeah, you've got to get other people to do what you want. And, I mean, it's really cool to go diving to go tend your coral, but it's a whole thing. It's, and you've got other responsibilities. There was something, what did he say? What did they say here? Commercial and aquaculture facilities, those are different because the focus is so different.
Yeah.
It's about making money and making product.
And that's what I think when I'm talking to Meckley, where Meckley will get very passionate about certain things. And I'm not saying he's wrong. He's right for what he does in his facility, but I don't know that sometimes that translates to, oh, you have a home aquarium. You got to redline this and redline that. Not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying it's a different focus.
Yeah. Absolutely different focus. I am, if this coral breeding was a commercial venture, I'd be fucked.
Yeah.
Right? I'd be doing it. Well, I wouldn't be fucked. I'd be doing it very differently.
Well, you'd have to. It's you don't have an eye on.
I'm not producing.
Like your stuff would be $500 a frag. I mean, $5,000 a frag.
I'm okay with that, but no one will pay that. Is the thing.
Yeah.
But I'd be. It would be very different if this was a farm.
Yeah.
Because everything's got to live, because you got to sell it, and you got to sell it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
That's the other. I guess the main difference between being a hobbyist and being a professional is the way your choices matter and aren't necessarily yours. It's fascinating
and frustrating
and exciting. I mean, I can't say that my time at the public aquarium wasn't awesome. There was, even, having to justify the tank transfer method and then, show them papers on the tank transfer method. That was pretty cool. Even doing that work. When they did it, they decided to do it a slightly different way. I went, no. And then that didn't work. It was like, that's frustrating. But, it's super cool. I mean, being around all that big stuff and
I think, like, on a personal level, there's nothing wrong with a group of people. You put forth an idea and then you run it through the ringer of rigorousness. Oh, what if this? What if that? And you shouldn't necessarily. That's the way I think about these outliers in like history or sort of all this in the sciences and medical science of people saying, oh, that guy's a pariah. They don't listen to him, but he's right, going against like the body science of a certain thing. And it's fine, man. The First Amendment, you're allowed to. But when they get the attitude of those other scientists in geology are mean and they're gatekeeping and they won't let me this, and you hear that and it sounds enticing. But then if you could talk to the body of that science, they're like, that guy's a wingnut. Like,
right.
And you just, and no offense to the listener, but it's like, you don't know enough to know why he's a wingnut. And it's just easy for him to get on a podcast and say, the Sphinx was underwater at some point. and the rest of geology is like, no, it wasn't. Or what, I'm just pulling that out, but.
Yeah, it's nuts. If you work at a wholesaler, that's a whole nother, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You're constantly getting giant shipments in and you're constantly moving everything out.
You might have to do some things that feel like unethical, but you can't not now, and there can be arguments, but you gotta get in animals, make sure they're a tiny bit conditioned. You gotta move them out.
Yeah. It's like, it's like being in a hobby barbecue and then setting up your own butchering restaurant.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, there's a lot going on here.
Well, and a lot of what happens around here is I talk to dudes that enjoy barbecuing in their backyard, and then they'll get on a competition team. And it's
Right.
just like everything that was not that they enjoyed or not enjoy it, but it's just different, completely different.
Yeah. So I think people see like public aquariums and moving on to outside of the hobby as a career goal, which is fine. Just know anything you do as a career is different than when you were doing it as a hobby. It's a whole different kettle of fish. And um, you know, you may not love the thing the way you used to when you did it as a hobby. And then the other thing, and then I'll shut up, is God, please, guys, everyone, people, not guys. Guys, I mean non-sexually,
People.
non-gender, uh, folks.
Humanoids.
Do the hobby because you love it. Please do the hobby because you love it. There's not enough people doing stuff that they love. So many people are trying to side hustle everything. And man, I went and picked up some frags from a guy who's a side hustle. I didn't realize it was until I got there and I was like, oh, dude, what are you doing? This is crazy.
Dude, I thought people were crazy in 2005 when they were like, "Oh, grow these frags in my garage and get rich." I mean, this has been side hustled to death. You're not that man. Do we sound like negative Nancy's in that? I'm saying like don't do it because everyone's already done it, but I
I
don't know.
I'm just saying if you love something, keep it for yourself. You know?
Yeah, and think about it harder if you think you're going to reinvent the wheel and be so much more successful fragging these things in your garage and selling it to people as if a million people aren't already doing that.
And as if yeah, and everyone's going to try to nickel and dime. It's just businesses are hard. I just see so many people. The goal is always, how do I make this a YouTube channel? How do I, in every hobby, how do I get people to watch? How do I get sponsored? And it's like, I guess that part of the hobby is fun for itself. I mean, I understand that. But if you love the animals in the hobby, you're my hero.
Yeah.
Play with your animals. It's great.
That's
I mean,
the name
I
of
don't,
this show. Play with your animals.
yeah, play with your animals. I don't mind. I don't mind if you've got your own YouTube channel and you're sharing and just doing it because it's cool. Like Alex seems to be just, hey, this is what I'm doing and it's cool.
Go Bora.
Yeah, and we still have to have him on because what he's doing is awesome. It's I'm gonna help people. I'm gonna not help people. I'm gonna make a difference. This is gonna be my money. And I was going through some reef influencers pages the other day and looking at their numbers because I saw a couple of them were saying I'm not making videos anymore, because it's so much work. Which it is, right? Logan was telling us those kinds of
Thank you,
videos.
Snowman.
And even like the anemone video, the cube tank we did that Snowman put together, it's just a lot of work. And I was looking at someone's been doing it for 4 or 5 years, and the videos get 1,000, 2,000 views.
Yeah, and you're like,
and I look at they've got 200 videos, and it's like 300 videos. It's like that's 1,000 hours of your life.
yeah.
If you enjoyed it, I'm all for it. Telegram, he just enjoys what he's doing.
But don't be mad on it on the back end because you didn't become a millionaire.
Right. Sanjay, he loves what he's doing. He loves messing around and learning stuff, right? But he's not trying to make a thing. And then I was also, since we're just now waxing philosophical, I'm trying to love all our products now that we have available and trying to understand the reason why we don't have the science-based stuff that I'm going to stop. This is just, I don't want.
That's a whole show right there.
We're at time. We can stop.
Yeah. But that's just a taste, listener and watcher. We'll probably hit on that in the next few episodes.
I keep reminding myself that almost everybody in this hobby is here because they like it and they're trying to do good.
Mm-hmm.
And We're all on the same team. Except for those 5 fucking people. You know who you are.
Stop it. Just stop it.
And trying to remember that it's all cool, and not everyone has all the experience, and not everyone's jaded, and wow, seeing a big skimmer for the first time is fucking cool.
Basically, you're having a kumbaya moment.
You got anything else to wrap this up with?
No, we just need to wrap it up like a pretty
all right
present. And
well, that was excellent. We want to Ben, it's busy season both in life and in coral, so we're a little crazy, and so I was very much looking forward to just having this episode of you and I just talking about what's going on.
Dude, that's romantic.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed this episode, if you've lasted this long, might as well smush like and whatever,
Yeah. Come find us on the Discord.
Yeah, and if you really want to help us, share this video around or share the videos around. And if you really, really, really want to help us, come to the Discord. The Discord's pretty awesome. If you really, really, really want to help us, become a member and come to the awesome part of the Discord where the members are.
And if you're insane, just throw money at us. We're not.
We'll take that too. Yeah. Thank you for being a member. Thank you anybody who's ever supported us in any way. Because without you guys, like we said at the beginning, we'd be 2 guys yelling at each other. We'd probably have fist fight by now.
2 schmucks,
which was almost the name of this podcast. 2 schmucks. If you are not supporting us, the Discord invite is somewhere. Snowman will put something up here on how to get to the Discord. And thank you so much for supporting us. We really appreciate it. This episode was brought to you by saltwateraquarium.com,
Champion Lighting and Supply,
and powered by PolypLab and the Beefers. Thank you guys all so much. We'll genuinely talk to you next time we talk to you. This episode of Reef Beef was hosted by Rich Ross and Ben Johnson, produced by Rich Ross and Snowman, directed and edited by Snowman. We'd like to thank to our prime beefers, Joe's Coral Reef and Farhad, and our gold level beefers, Ben H., Robert S., Alfie, Ben J., Hannah, Bay Area Reefers, Brittany, Francois C., James B., Scott C., Jim W., John W., Adam S., Rowan B., and Leslie S. And thank you and all the beefers, past, present, and future.
Look, real quick, we have a text chain, me and a bunch of relatives, and Trish thought my getup was so funny. She took a picture and sent it in there. My cousin, they all love it. We all have a good sense of humor.
It's fucking hysterical.
My cousin was like, Ben, so many questions. The most pressing is, are those meat curtains behind you?
Yes, they are.
You goddamn right.
You goddamn right. I love the idea that people won't listen to us because they don't like our language. I think that was so funny if that's actually a thing. Where the fuck did it go? God damn it.
I'm a little bit of Nigel and a little bit of Lemmy. Dude, you're an axolotl.
Now I am ready.
I am ready to do battle.
Is there anything else we need? I think that's it. I'm sorry, I just need to check one more thing so Snowman doesn't yell at me.
We are just merely captives of Snowman's whimsy.
Ba. Okay, and ba. Okay, I am set properly. God grows the seeds. We sow the seeds. Yeah.
Right, Vivian.
Right. I put on me Dr. Martin boots for battle with a spider, and I wasn't gonna lose. No, I'm sorry. It's Alexis Sales. I was doing Toy Dolls. Alexis Sales. Dr. Martin boots.
They're just finding stuff to clip and throw into the back.
It's pretty funny.
Okay, second pause. And you.
Look, a Pithos crab. Before we go on to the next thing, I got some other piece of show and tell. I'll be right back.
Now Richard is leaving his captain's chair and he is heading off to a cubbyhole where he is storing the secret item. I don't know what it is. This is completely organic. I don't know what my reaction is going to be. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Am I going to be disappointed? Is it anticlimactic? Is it going to be the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life? I don't know, but you're all here with me on this journey. experiencing this, and we might all have completely different reactions to this scenario. Some might be happy, some might cry, you know.